Guys, until recently it seemed like Natalie and Mike's relationship had completely fallen apart. But then, you guys, things took a crazy turn when Natalie revealed that she wanted to reunite with Mike, and what she said about the current state of their relationship will absolutely shock you. So we all know that when Natalie first moved to the US to be with Mike, it was clear that they weren't exactly compatible. I mean, she really wanted to have kids, and he wasn't happy with all the lifestyle adjustments that she wanted him to make, and these two just had a lot of drama, and it came as really no surprise when they split up soon after getting married. But shockingly though, it now kind of seems like Natalie wants to get back together with Mike, and there's actually a pretty huge reason for that, because Natalie is from Ukraine and she currently lives in the US, but that doesn't mean that the situation over there doesn't affect her. I mean, for one, Natalie's mom was actually in Ukraine when the war first started, and I can't even imagine how terrifying that must have been for her and for Natalie, and it was obviously an awful situation. But this was when Mike came in and basically saved the day, because it turns out that he actually helped Natalie's mom flee Ukraine, which is honestly pretty incredible of him to do. And Natalie talked about what happened, and I can totally get why she'd feel a certain type of way about Mike after what he did for her. And apparently the situation got really scary really quickly when Natalie's mom, lost her home, and it was not safe for her to go back, which must have been extremely devastating. But then Mike got in touch with Natalie, and this was after they hadn't spoken for months, and Natalie said that at that point, she hadn't heard from him in 5 months. But then as soon as everything started happening in Ukraine, he got in touch with her, and he pretty much contacted her immediately and asked her how he could help. And not only that, but he apparently asked how he could help, Natalie's mom specifically, because according to Natalie, her mom and Mike have always had a pretty good relationship, and it seems like Mike thought so too, because he was ready to do anything to help her, which, like I said, is super incredible. I mean, he and Natalie weren't together at that point, and they weren't even speaking, but as soon as things got serious, he put all of that aside to help her in a way that he could, and I think that really says a lot about him. And Natalie clearly agrees, because she said that in her opinion, Mike is a great guy, and he actually ended up paying for a ticket for Natalie's mom, and because of that, she was able to flee Ukraine and evacuate safely. She's now in Bulgaria waiting for her visa to be approved so that she can come to America and be near her daughter. And Natalie said that Mike was a hero because of what he did, and then she said that she loved him for that, which I thought was honestly a pretty huge statement. I mean, considering everything that had happened between them, and honestly, I just think that Natalie is hoping to reconcile with Mike, and he did something really amazing for her. And even though she's technically still with Josh at this point in the show, we know that things are going pretty badly between them, so I can see why she might want to get back together with Mike instead, especially since she also decided that she would, fly to Washington to apologize to Mike for everything that happened and for leaving, which is a pretty major step. And I mean, she could have just easily called Mike instead. I mean, there's no need for her to fly to Washington just to apologize, but FYI, I mean, she also had to pick up all of her belongings from Mike, so yes, she did apologize, but there was more to the story. But either way, I really don't think that that's all there is to it. I mean, given all that happened between them, and especially considering what she said about her feelings towards both Josh and Mike, I mean, when she booked the ticket to Seattle, she said that there was still one problem, which that she was dating Josh. And from that, I think it's pretty clear that this visit isn't just about her apologizing to Mike, because if that were the case, she probably wouldn't phrase it like that. And if this whole trip was just about an apology, then why would it be a problem that she was still with Josh at that point? I mean, that just doesn't make any sense, unless she was hoping to reconcile with Mike. I mean, Natalie also mentioned that Josh never offered his help, and that when it came to Mike, no matter how they parted, she couldn't escape the fact that he was still a part of her life. And then she said that, he was still in her heart. So I feel like it's pretty clear that, she was thinking when it came to this trip, there might actually be another little problem though, and that's that Mike might also technically be dating someone else, because it seems like Mike's supposedly been dating Marcia Elvez from Rock of Love Bus, and they've been spotted together a bunch of times, and Marcia even posted stuff about Mike on her Instagram. And that said, I still think it's pretty likely that Mike and Natalie could get back together. I mean, there have been a lot of rumors about their possible reconciliation for a while now, and back in, May of this year, Natalie shared a selfie to her stories, and it seemed like in the selfie she was with the husky that, she and Mike had previously adopted together, and there actually is more, because probably the craziest hint about them reconciling was this one thing Natalie said on her Instagram, and this was back in August, and after it happened, the rumors of their reconciliation started spreading even more, because Natalie posted a photo of the two of them and wrote that on that day, 7 years ago, she had responded to this guy and that it changed her life forever. And that was obviously a pretty sweet message. But I feel like it would be weird for her to post something like this if they really were over, and clearly I wasn't the only one who thought that, because in the comments section someone asked her if this meant that they were back together, and what Natalie had to say in the response was seriously shocking. She said that maybe they never even parted, which is absolutely crazy thing to say, and since we know that they parted, she left him, and even though, as far as we know, neither of them had actually filed for divorce so far, they definitely parted. So for her to say this, I just feel like there has to be something going on between them, and her response would make sense if she thought of their breakup as just a quick pause, because, she never really got over him or something like that, but I just can't imagine why she would say something like this if there wasn't anything going on between them at all. So, putting all this together with how Mike helped her and all the comments she made about him being a hero and in her heart, I feel like we might get to see them reconcile sometime soon. I mean, I really don't know how this is going to work out for them, though, since they did have a lot of issues and differences when they were together. But then again, maybe this whole thing will bring them back together, and maybe they'll be more willing to work on their relationship. I mean, guys, I honestly have no idea, but what do you guys think? Do you think Natalie wants to reconcile with Mike? And what do you make of what Mike did for her and her mom? Guys, let me know in the comments down below.